Welcome back again to Timelapse Tuesday, and today we're going to be drawing this reference photo I found off Pinterest but with this hairstyle. So let's get started. If you've never seen a Timelapse Tuesday, this is basically where I give some art tips while I show a time lapse of an art piece I've been working on. So the first tip that I have for today is to try hue shifting instead of just darkening or lightening your colors. So for digital art, to get your shadows, sometimes you'll just slide the volume down like that. This is just darkening the color, which can sometimes make the colors look muddy. So instead of just darkening your colors, you can try hue shifting. So that means you'll slightly move the hue or the color down or up, then you can darken that color too. So here you can see what it looks like with just darkening the colors versus when you hue shift. The colors look more vibrant. But that is just my preference on how I like to pick my shadows and highlights. So if that doesn't fit in with your art style, then that's perfectly fine too. The second tip that I have is to create your own color palette. So another way to make your art stand out and for people to notice that your art is yours is to use a specific color palette for your art. Just like how someone can tell that your art is yours just from your art style, someone can tell that your art is yours just based off the colors. So I use Procreate, and this is the color palettes that I made that I use in pretty much all of my drawings, so when people see my art, they'll know this is mine. Now this next tip is for people that sometimes can get bored with their art. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll start a piece and then I won't go back to it until a long time later, or I won't even go back to it. So one way to make art fun is to try little tiny challenges. So I just started doing 10 seconds, 1 minute, and then 10-minute drawings, and I usually post those on Speed Draw Sunday, in which I have one link below if you want to see that. But just trying art challenges that you'll see online can make your art so much more fun, and it can also be good practice for you. Now, the last tip that I have for today is to try changing the color of the outline. Now I don't usually do this in my art, but I've seen a lot of other artists do it and it gives it a different look. So I actually ended up doing that in this drawing, and I'll show you how I do it. So I usually click on the outline layer and I'll alpha lock it, and I'll alpha lock it so that when I color it, it'll stay within the lines I already drew. And the outline of face, I'll use a really dark shade of the skin color so that when I outline it, it'll really stand out. And then I'll do the same thing for the hair. And now I'll show you what it looks like with just the dark outlines versus the colored outlines. It just gives it a completely different look. But again, this is just a personal preference, so always do what's best for you and what matches your art style. Because again, there's no right or wrong way to make art. You make art how you want to make it. But now we're at the end of the drawing, and here's the finished piece. But if you have any questions, you can comment them below and I'll try to answer them in the next one. And as always, if you made it always to the end, make sure you subscribe and interact so the algorithm can always bring you back, and look out for the next one. Bye!